Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football late night update, but massive news for the USC Trojans coming out of the transfer portal as former UNLV quarterback Jayden Maiava, previously committed to the Georgia Bulldgos, flips his commitment to the USC Trojans. And I think this is pretty obvious that Lincoln Riley had a very high priority for Jayden Maiava and a massive get for USC coming out of the transfer portal, because you're essentially checking two important boxes for this USC program. One, you needed an experienced backup quarterback to come in and join Miller Moss in this quarterback room. And I think we all recognize Miller Moss, probably the guy in 2024, but who is going to be behind him? And that presented a real question for Lincoln Riley, because it is hard to go into the transfer portal and grab a quarterback that is pretty okay with being the backup in 2024. But more importantly, you're getting an experienced backup that has won a lot of football games as a true freshman starting quarterback. You're also getting a guy that has a ton of upside and kind of replaces Malachi Nelson as that developmental prospect in that USC quarterback room, an experienced backup with high upside as a developmental prospect. That is exactly what we wanted USC to get in the transfer portal as it related to a quarterback. A massive win for Lincoln Riley in the transfer portal, and what was just a wild recruitment, right? We talked about Jayden Maiava trending to USC a couple days ago, and we talked about Jayden Maiava committing to the Georgia Bulldogs this morning, and now he's back to USC about midnight East Coast time. Want to get into Jayden Maiava, talk a little bit about what he brings to this USC program. Before we do, just want to say thank you to you guys, and as usual, cannot thank the USC fans enough for all the support you guys have shown the last couple of weeks. I've had an absolute blast talking about all these commitments and some of these transfers coming in. The amount of support you guys continue to show really does mean a lot. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. I think we got the USC commitment sweatshirt. I think that's what we're going to do from now on. When USC lands a commitment, we got to throw on the sweatshirt. Without further ado, though, let's get into Jayden Maiava, talk a little bit about what he brings to this USC quarterback room, and a guy that we talked about a couple days ago. Many of the USC fans who've been listening the last couple of days know how high I am on a guy like Jayden Maiava. And before we talk about the physical traits that Jayden Maiava has as a quarterback, I want to talk about a few things that doesn't get discussed enough about when you're talking transfer quarterbacks. Are you a winner? Are you elevating the offense around you? Jayden Maiava certainly did that. And my first exposure to Jayden Maiava is actually as a Michigan fan. He comes in garbage time. In the fourth quarter, Michigan was up 30-plus points and absolutely cuts up our defense. And we're like, who is this quarterback who's a true freshman, absolutely rolling through our defense? Turns out to be Jayden Maiava. He ends up taking over the UNLV starting quarterback role and takes a UNLV program. And this is what I think is most impressive. He takes a UNLV program that is historically not a very good team. They do not win many games in the Mountain West Conference, leads them to a Mountain West Conference championship game. They end up winning 9 games, and you take a look at his numbers. I mean, a 63% completion percentage, threw for over 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Phenomenal numbers for a true freshman quarterback. And I want to emphasize, I should say, how rare it is for true freshman quarterbacks to excel at the college football level in their first year, right? You take a look at some of the top prospects in that 2023 class. Arch Manning at Texas, not much playing time. Nico I at Tennessee, played his first start in the bowl game. Jackson Arnold didn't get any playing time of significance until the bowl game. And Malachi Nelson, obviously, not much playing time. Though top quarterbacks in the 2023 class didn't really play much as true freshmen. Jayden Maiava, who was an underrated 3-star in that 2023 class, took over that UNLV offense and team and won 9 games. This is a kid that's a gamer. He's a winner. But more importantly, I want to talk about the upside that Jayden Maiava brings to the table. And this is what I think is so special about this get is not only are you getting an experienced quarterback that can win you football games in 2024 if he needs to, but a guy that has so much room to grow in terms of what he can be as a quarterback. And I can't think of a better quarterback room for Jayden Maiava to go and develop than under the tutelage of a guy like Lincoln Riley. Now, getting into Jayden Maiava's game, I want to pull up his profile again. Made a lot of Power 5 programs look really stupid for sleeping on this guy. 6'4", 220 pounds. The first thing that you see when you turn on Jayden Maiava's film, watch him back against Kansas, there's not a throw on the football field that Jayden Maiava can't make. And that's special. And I want to emphasize that because you talk about a lot of college football quarterbacks, you can't really say the same thing, right? There are a lot of quarterbacks that are good quarterbacks at the college football level. They can't make every throw, right? If they're trying to stretch the ball downfield to throw to the opposite boundary, those throws are hard to make for a lot of quarterbacks at the Power 5 level. Jayden Maiava, I mean, he gets the ball out with ease. He has very, very easy power in his arm. Not only does he have an absolute howitzer of an arm, he can rip it in there, but he's also a guy that can throw with some really, really nice touch as well. And so when you combine the ability to rip one in there, but also layer some footballs over zone coverage, drop some in the bucket, that's what makes Jayden Maiava's arm talent so special. And at 6'4", 220 pounds, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's hard to bring down in the pocket. He can extend plays extremely well. He can pick up the yards with his legs. But most importantly, as a true freshman, you saw him extend plays, keep his eyes downfield, and deliver strikes by buying time for his wide receivers. So you're getting a very athletic quarterback with a ton of arm talent and a guy that has the game or gamesmanship to go out and win 9 games as a true freshman. Jayden Maiava checks a lot of boxes. Now, talking about some of the things that Jayden Maiava wants to work on, I think the biggest thing, and you see this with a lot of young quarterbacks at the college football level, he has a phenomenal arm, probably trusts it too much at times. Like there is not a throw that he can't make, and sometimes he thinks he can make throws that he can't get away with at the college football level, and that's really natural. And I think we saw Caleb Williams at time get burned by that confidence in your arm, and you'd rather have a quarterback that knows he can make those throws and kind of learns by making some of those mistakes. And at the end of the day, Jayden Maiava is coming to this USC quarterback room, going to get a little bit better as a processor and probably start limiting those mistakes. That one stat that you're a little concerned with is the 17 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. I mean, with a year of Lincoln Riley having that game slow down a little bit, I have a feeling you're going to see some of those mistakes that were just true freshman mistakes, I mean, kind of get mitigated over his years with Lincoln Riley. And in 2025, and if you're looking at this quarterback window, Miller Moss might have a phenomenal year, go to the NFL next year. Jayden Maiava and Julian Lewis, if he reclassifies, that's going to be a very good quarterback battle. And we said this when Malachi Nelson transferred out. There's one thing I trust about Lincoln Riley right now. It is getting this quarterback position right. And I think Jayden Maiava is really the perfect fit for USC in the quarterback room. And I also want to update USC fans on one more thing before we wrap up. And that is Sione Lolea, a top target for USC on that defensive line, trending to USC, it sounds like. And this is a guy that was an all Pac-12 performer at Oregon State, somebody who we talked about with a guy like Isaiah Rakes earlier today. USC wants to get depth. They want to get physicality on that defensive line. And a guy like Sione at that edge position, extremely good at the point of attack. We'll talk a little bit more about him in the later days. But if I'm a USC fan, I'm definitely keeping my eye on that one as well. Massive day for USC in the transfer portal, landing a massive interior defensive lineman with Isaiah Rakes from Texas A&M. We covered that a couple hours ago. And then landing their potential quarterback of the future in a dynamite backup quarterback in Jayden Maiava from UNLV. Appreciate the USC fans rocking with the boys. A late night one made me get out of bed, but I wasn't missing talking about some Jayden Maiava going to USC. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.